So you don't like fun.
Yeah, I guess so. Okay, we're recording.
The Falcon and the Winter Soldier is
The Battle of Jinx and Django.
The Melon of Jinx and Django.
Are we doing this right now?
Yeah, we're recording it.
Okay.
Is everyone ready, or should we reschedule?
I am ready.
Falcon and the Winter.
Oh, really?
I can't do that. WandaVision.
Oh,
Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Oh, really? No, I should have went Sam and Bucky.
Sam and
Ruby
Bucky's.
and Max. Sorry.
Alright.
Okay.
I think I'll start off by saying I think this is one of the most profound projects that Marvel has ever put on screen.
They said racism. We should probably talk about it.
Not only is it like an achievement in like television in terms of like production value, cinematography is
incredible.
The cinematography alone, kind of pushes this project past the other MCU projects. The performances are solid. The themes and the ideas explored throughout the show continue to provide depth to not only to the characters but to like the greater narrative of the MCU that we're getting at. So I think just overall it's just such a good show.
What episode are we on now?
We're on we just finished 3.
Okay. So I think like as a whole, so far obviously the first 3 episodes, not to compare it to like WandaVision, because I know that WandaVision and the Falcon and the Winter Soldier are a completely different creative team under completely different circumstances, and with like a completely different show. I mean, like, yeah, a completely different story to tell and completely different characters. And I will say that, and obviously, like the Falcon and the Winter Soldier is like a completely different environment, but I kind of expected the tone of WandaVision to come like to translate into the next series, like to translate into Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And what I mean by that is that I expected to be screaming at my like TV every single Friday night, like watching the Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Well,
and,
in a way,
and
we are.
I didn't until John Walker walked on screen, and I have never the Falcon and the Winter Soldier encompasses this concept and this idea and brings up these conversations of turning legacy into a mascot of duty and service and like deciding what your legacy is going to be and how you're going to influence and impact the world personally, on a personal level, with characters that I grew up with, like that we all grew up with, obviously watching their movies and in our personal lives at Thanksgiving. And I think like they're such like important people to us, and to see them as a whole, it displayed in such a beautifully directed and shot way. Is like I don't know. It's one of the best. It's like one of the best. It's one of my favorite things on the planet.
No.
Just no.
Other than Chris.
No, I was saying no exactly. Because
No.
I don't, like, I find myself not wanting to compare it, to the project that has come before, but obviously that's the only thing we can compare it to at the moment, because this isn't a movie. This is obviously a Disney Plus show, so it's a new property altogether, and the only thing that we can compare it to is WandaVision. And obviously, these are two completely different projects in terms of tone, in terms of things that they're trying to achieve. But I think what excited me most when I first saw the episode, at least the first episode, was that, like, the trailers that we got thus far. I'm not even gonna lie, like, this was a show that I was least excited for out of the 3 shows that we know are coming.
Absolutely, yeah.
This was the one I was least excited for. And the way that it was marketed was, there was nothing it didn't feel like it was new. I watched the trailers. I was like, okay, this feels like I've seen this plenty of times. I'll watch it, of course, because why would I not watch it? But then we got to the first episode, and I think just immediately the tone is established, and you get, like, the depth of these characters, and you get these characters that you've watched throughout the movies are given the time, because they have their own show now, but they're given the time. You're given the time to really humanize them in a way that hasn't been done before, and you see these characters in a new light, because you're witnessing them experience the things that we experience. They're put in your shoes, and I think that's what excited me most about the first episode.
I think that's a really interesting thing to see as well, because I think, like, I mean, not that I'm, like, a big Spider-Man fanboy or anything, but, like, something that has drawn...
You don't even like Spider-Man.
And, like, not really.
They're not going to understand that that's a joke.
It doesn't matter what they understand. What they need to understand is that I don't like Spider-Man.
Okay.
But like, something that has drawn everyone to Peter Parker is the fact that he is, like, a superhero by day, and, like, dealing with potentially getting evicted out of his apartment by night. Like, you know what I mean? And, like, he has, like homework and like girl problems, and he's like a human, and it's like it's not that like we haven't explored other aspects of like basically like one of Tony's primary character arcs, especially in like Iron Man 3, we discuss and explore his PTSD, and like
right.
and like we recently just watched Age of Ultron, and we discuss Tony's like issues with PTSD and how his anxiety like shoves him, like forces him into this position of, like hyper reaction, and like trying to create these preventatives, but like trying to stop the world ending before it even happens, and inevitably creating Ultron, who's fucking terrifying.
That man is so scary.
And he doesn't get enough credit for it.
I got no strings on me.
That is literally...
That is the root of my nightmares.
I love it.
I hear it every night.
But,
yesterday.
I think Falcon and the Winter Soldier... Watching Bucky Barnes...
Kiss Sam.
The Winter Soldier... sit in a therapy session and work through the same dumb things that, like, therapists and counselors, not to shit on therapists and counselors, but the same dumb, like, what's rule number 1? Yes. What's rule number 2? Like, how to work through your anxieties, like, practice grounding yourself in reality by pointing at 3 things you can smell. And I'm like, I'm having a panic attack. I don't think you understand that. I don't know what's going on. And I don't care about 3 things that I can smell. And I don't think I have the mental capacity or the mental width to point at 3 things that I can smell. But if it works for you guys, go for it. Right, Danny?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yes.
Approval
no,
from the
but
squire.
approval from thine squire. I don't know. Okay, but like, okay, what I'm saying is that to see him go through the process of dealing with his emotions and
Right.
and like being a human and having to look for help, legally, obviously, but it's like if he didn't want to be there, he wouldn't be there. But obviously he's like complying and he's being. It's just it's like an interesting thing, and I think it opens up a different level and it explores like a different kind of mental stress on our superheroes, on our heroes, that it, like you said, it puts them in our shoes, rather than us in their shoes. And
Right.
I think that's interesting. I think it's done in a very careful and caring way. I think it should be appreciated by all. Period.
I think that my relationship with Marvel hasn't, I'm literally speaking from the perspective of somebody who has not seen all the Marvel movies. I am quite literally still going through them. I have not seen Civil War. I don't know a goddamn thing about these. Literally.
We just watched Age of Ultron.
We just finished Age of Ultron last night.
There's about 8 movies left in the series. The last 8 movies she hasn't seen.
Oopsies. But like,
at least she's watched more than freaking Thor: The Dark World.
Come on, Danny.
Fucking God.
But like literally, my introduction to the MCU was Guardians of the Galaxy. Anyway, point being that even though I'm not like in it, I mean I am in it. I like them a lot, but I haven't. Okay, I'm getting a little bit off track. The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I'm so tired. Falcon and the Winter Soldier does a really good job about making me care about these people, even though I haven't even seen all of the movies yet. And that's my entire point.
That is a really good point, though,
Yeah.
because I'm not going to lie. Falcon and Bucky we're such boring characters. Like I was like sure. Every time Sam showed up, not only was I just like not entertained, it was like on a different level where I was just like, oh, he exists. And the most that I knew about, like, well, Bucky's different, but like even at that, Bucky, like I was like, sure, he's like, oh, like brainwashed, cool,
kind of hot.
I was like he's like, they're cool. I don't know any, like I didn't know, they didn't. Bucky gave me like frat boy vibes, and I was like,
oh yeah.
And so did Sam. Sam and Bucky both gave me like frat boy vibes, and all I knew was that one interaction in spoilers, Civil War, where Peter is like hanging out with him, and Peter like I think Sam or Bucky, one of them throws something at Peter's head, and Peter's spider senses goes off. That's the only reason I ever like. That's it. I don't care. I didn't care. And now, like, I often sit in my bed at night and I will sit there and I will think to myself, like, if Sam's sister dies or gets hurt, I'm gonna die. And that's it. And that's all that's gonna happen.
That's genuinely just because I had zero attachment to Sam. There was nothing there. He was introduced in Winter Soldier, and we got him in bits and pieces throughout the rest of the MCU. But there was no impactful moments for Sam to build a deep and meaningful attachment to that character, you know, until we got the show. And now after the show, or while we're still watching the show, I care so much about these characters, and I genuinely this is genuinely one of my favorite MCU projects because of the attachment I've built with these characters and how much this show has made me care for their story.
I think it's crazy how fast, like...
You were just sleeping.
I haven't been sleeping. I have said this multiple times. I'm just listening.
Then
I'm
you
just
wake
tired, so
up.
I don't want to talk. I think it's crazy how well they did execute this, just because we've only sat with these characters for 3 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
It's been quite literally, it's 45 minutes. And so 45 minutes each episode, and so I think it's crazy that our opinions on them can change so quickly, and just how well Marvel did that, so where we sympathize with them now.
It's an incredibly well written story. They somehow managed to, within, well, to be fair, actually it's 3 hours. We've gotten just around 3 hours of footage of, or 3 hours of storyline with these 2 people that we can sympathize with, and that I don't know if anybody's gonna the moment where I think it's literally the beginning of episode 2, John Walker, Captain America.
No.
So take that name out of your mouth.
John Walker is doing his whole, he's at his former high school, and he's running around.
Wait, that is a big ass high school.
Literally, they're so rich.
It literally looks like a college campus.
I literally thought that was a college campus, and they were like, "Oh, how's it feel to be back at your high school?"
Stadium.
And I was like, "You have not only not just one set of bleachers, but your bleachers are eight 2 stories fucking tall, and there's 16 sets." Okay. Anyways, you see seeing John Walker talk about what it means to be Captain America, and how important it is for him to fulfill this, and it's he's asking me he's asking me to sympathize with him and understand where he's coming from, and that he's just putting in effort to do right by Steve. And you and it's the direct correlation to him preaching this dumb empty shell of a speech, and literally parading around in the Captain America costume,
especially when he's going around signing action figures.
He's literally, it's he's put on Steve Rogers' legacy as a mascot costume, as a high school mascot costume. And it's that is literally the direct correlation that they were making in that moment, I think. Mm-hmm. And if they didn't, they should have, because it's that's literally what he's like Johnny Rebel. Oh my god, are they gonna fucking find us and kill us? If they know what high school we go to?
Both of them are racist, so...
No, I meant anybody else listening who could potentially...
No, but I'm just saying, I made that connection in my mind.
Both John Walker, I was literally anyways.
No, yeah.
But, do you know what I mean? Anyways, so my point was that after you see this moment, and I was furious, angry. I was like, who is this man? Why does he think it's okay to step on these people, step on these shoes? It cuts to the shot, and it's the first time that we see Bucky, I think... it is the first time we see Bucky in the episode, and Bucky's crying, and I was like, that is it's so clever, because the same fury that we feel, the frustration and the pain of because the last line that he gives is
Steve was like a brother to me.
Steve was like a brother to me, and it cuts to Bucky with tears in his eyes, because for obvious reasons. We all know why that happened, right? Because Bucky and Steve have a really close relationship, and
yes.
so okay, good. But like, and I was like, it's something that I don't know if it's just like a Marvel thing or if it's the way that it's written, but the way that the audience sits like right next to the characters, like the same feeling that I was having in that moment was the same feeling that Bucky was having, and they were not afraid to like have you sit in that for a minute with him to understand like, oh, how I'm feeling right now is like is what he's feeling, but his is like multiplied by 20 million pounds. Mm-hmm. So you actually don't have to raise your hand to talk.
I'm just saying, I have something to say.
Okay.
I just wanted to bring up the fact that not to compare WandaVision or anything, but when we were watching WandaVision, I would like to point out that people were very angry. Not angry, but like they were like irritated, I guess, frustrated with the fact that Darcy acted as our audience crossover, whatever, but it like didn't work in WandaVision because Darcy was literally just saying all the questions that we wanted to know and was like quite literally just like feeding us answers. Actually, the more that I say this out loud, the more that I realize that there's no reason for me to be saying this. So, we're gonna move on.
I'm curious to know what you had to say, though.
That's all. I was just like, cat.
I think in WandaVision's case, I think these are two different examples of what Park was mentioning. Because in WandaVision, Darcy was our exposition man. She gave us the context that we needed to follow the story, but they did it in a very meta way because she was like quite literally watching the same show that we were watching. So they just gave us, she was just there to give us context. But in this case, it's more of a reading between the lines type of thing, where it's like you see Bucky watching what we're watching as well, but rather than him telling you how he's feeling, you just see it in his expression. So it's more
film is a show, don't tell medium. Don't ever sneeze again. Bless you.
What did you say to me?
I said bless you.
God bless you.
Thank you.
Film is a show, don't tell medium. And I think like when obviously you have to get exposition is just like something that you have to get, like something that has to happen because you have to explain background and context of the situation a lot of times in order for your audience to understand what the heck's going on and who these people are. But there's a difference between Sam and his sister having a conversation about the boat and the implication that they have been here for a long time by the people around them, the babies, the children, the like old people that are like talking to them like lovingly the same way that older and younger family members would talk to us, and putting them in the position and showing us the boat and showing us that Sam knows how to work on the boat and that Sam often works with the boat, and just having like them, what is his name? Hawthorne? Hawkeye.
Hoskins?
The white man.
Yeah, we know who you're talking about. I don't remember his name either.
No, I literally don't.
From Wanda, the dumb villain from Wanda.
Oh, I literally don't even know. Hopper?
Hog. If Danny was awake, she would know.
Damn it.
Director Fury.
Oh yeah, Coulson. I'm really sad that Coulson died.
It was a good moment though.
Hayward.
There's this scene where like Hayward and I think Monica just have this like,
God, I'm so excited.
They like walk through the shield sword. They walk through like the sword facility and just like info dump this like big boring basically like monologue of Monica and Hayward, or I guess dialogue. Monica
of their history.
Of their history, how they know each other, what happened, blah 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 blah. Um, I don't know, and I just think like when you see how the characters feel, obviously I feel like this is like such an obvious conversation. When you see how the characters feel rather than being told how they feel, how they feel.
No, exactly.
It's just a more, what's the word, like, I want to say like saturating, like satisfying, like experience, and it validates your own emotions in those people, which Falcon and the Winter Soldier does a really, 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 really good job at. I'm sad because everyone's sleeping, and I wanted to have a conversation about John. Well, not everyone, but I wanted
I'm
to.
literally not sleeping.
I know. No one's sleeping. It's just Danny.
Well, okay. Well, before we get, because I think you said John Walker, but before we get, I think this would be a good way to like transition. But like, because I think what's interesting, because we started talking about John Walker and how, I think at the heart of the show, you have this this idea of legacy, and the legacy left behind by this man who they often refer to as like this icon, Captain America, Steve Rogers.
Yeah.
And his legacy, everything he embodied, is encapsulated in this shield. That is what he represents. That is what Captain America was. It's all embodied in this shield. And I just find it fascinating because obviously there's a question like, can you ever replace this man, this legend? Can the legacy be, can the legacy live on with a new face behind the shield? And I think it's interesting because Steve Rogers, he chose chose the person to like continue this legacy. He gave Sam the shield, but the government didn't find that Sam was the image that they wanted to represent America. Rather, they gave it to a white man. A white crusty man.
I think it's really interesting because a lot of people have pointed out, like, I've seen a lot of people pointing out, and I obviously saw it, but Captain America is representative of what America should be and the values that America should embody, and I think like a lot of people miss that point, that he is not what Marvel thinks America is. He thinks he's like what these writers, and that character is what America should be. It's like an all-encompassing, accepting, and protective like entity, this icon of freedom, and this icon of like intelligence and leadership and kindness, like genuine kindness and honesty. That's who Steve Rogers is, and that's who he's meant to be, and that's what Captain America was meant to be. And I do like, it's obviously like I think when you see the government kind of like, or people in power and leadership like corrupting that image and like taking that
to fit their own personal agenda.
Because what they did was, out of fear, they created this superficial icon to pretend that everything is fine. Like, that's essentially what they're doing, is that they're pretending like everything and everyone it is like Steve's dead, yeah, sure, but like Captain America isn't. The dream's still here. The American dream's still alive. Like, you guys, no need to worry. So it's like Falcon and the Winter Soldier. The more that I wish we had more episodes. I wish it was a complete story that we could like go through. But I mean, obviously, it'll be there. But it's like not only like really fucking pretty, really well written, great like characters and like character development in general, but it's
Important.
it has a voice. It has like people behind it that have something to
Right.
say and something that's important. Oh, I wanted to talk about the fact that the amount of like female representation on screen, black and brown bodies on screen, like there's like a like mixed people on screen. I just think there's like a ton of representation. It almost looks weird
Right.
to see like the goons, because I was like you don't really notice, but like I was even thinking about like Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight Rises. Joker's goons are all white men. As far as I can remember, I obviously haven't seen it in like in like a really long time, but you like often see only white people ever.
It's
Like-
funny you bring that up because I think there's a scene in The Dark Knight Rises where Batman's fighting Bane, in the Christopher Nolan's, and so it's like all of Bane's army, but there's also like people who are in prison are out or something like that. But there's just like a lot of people fighting in front of this like building, and it's just like white heads,
Literally all.
like just like a sea of white people.
And it's like on screen there's like no diversity at all, and I think like it's such a, and it's like it's like, well, it doesn't matter, it's just like some background characters, but it's like not being like looking at a screen and not being able to see anyone who looks like you is so, it's like almost like traumatizing to your perception of reality, like not being able to see any brown or black bodies or like brown or black people or like women on screen, because like I'm like the Goonies, the super soldiers are girls, and they exploring like Isaiah, the black super soldier.
Oh my god! See, I was gonna bring up Isaiah when we were talking about like the agenda that the government pushes,
Yeah.
and how they erased him from history as well.
They put him in fucking jail. Bucky had to go to therapy, and Isaiah had to go to jail. That's insane. Like the fact it was not this like subtle nod to like the government treats black people differently. It was like the government treats black people differently, and I'm going to show you, and you're going to see it, and we're going to understand this together and how important this is as a subject. Because he's also just not left behind. Like Sam's like, why didn't you fucking tell me about that?
Yeah.
And it's also it's like we're beginning to have this conversation of like Bucky and Steve got to make decisions for how Isaiah was treated, like how his like they made decisions on whether or not the press got to see him, or if we had a discussion for if he was going to get any money, or if anyone was going to have a chance to solve any problems. The white men got to make decisions for the black man, and we just like, and it's like they didn't even do it with like malicious intent. It wasn't coming from a place of like, they were like, oh, we thought he had already been through enough, and it's like, but you made that decision for him. He didn't even have an opportunity to say anything about it. I just think it's like because those conversations aren't had, and I like, it would be difficult. It's like, I think like I could imagine two people on completely different like opposite ends of the spectrum in terms when it comes to like how the government and how humans are treated by by America as a whole, sitting and watching that and then being able to spark a conversation from that. And I think it's like that's exactly what its purpose is. I think that's like the purpose of media, is to give reason for those discussions and reason for like influence for change. I don't know. I'm proud of them, whoever wrote that, and I don't know if that matters to them.
Good job, champ.
Like, as if they're listening to this.
Feedback.
No, yeah, they wanted my feedback, and I
Nice.
gave it to them.
Oh, good for you. Congratulations.
Thank
But
you.
you were talking about we got onto the Isaiah topic, but you were talking about the female super soldiers.
Oh yeah, the female representation on screen. We have this like I don't know. I think it's like it's the same thing with having like black and brown people on screen. It's important for little girls to be able to look at a screen and be like, I am like not even think about it. Like just be like, yep, girls can also be Goonies, and girls can also be crazy villains, and girls can also make stupid mistakes, and girls can also be superheroes, and do you know what I mean? It's just like it's something that they never grew up with. Like the fact that boys have a Spider-Man but girls don't have. Girls have Disney princesses, and that's really the extent of it.
Girls
Like
have Silk, and you were like, ew, Silk is fucking gross.
Silk,
Because
you mean
that
the
she
silk?
makes webs, and I was like, bitch, fuck.
It comes out of her.
Comes out of her fingers.
That's nasty. That's like snot.
I don't know what to tell you.
Do you know who Silk is?
I do.
Silk makes webs out of her all 5 of her fingertips.
Mm-hmm.
That's literally like snot coming out of your body.
That's all I got.
Peter.
Oh, great.
No,
See,
that's.
but in Tobey Maguire in Sam Raimi's Spider-Man,
Yes.
the spiderwebs came out of Tobey Maguire's nasty hands.
There's like a little butthole on his wrist. Which is so bizarre. Which I'm like, do you have to like.
How do you explain that? You just wear long sleeves all the time?
I don't know, because it also like formed there. Because after he got bit by the spider, it wasn't always there.
Your story isn't adding up, so maybe rework that.
I think I like, and when I saw, this is not a discussion about Spider-Man. I do love me.
But I'm curious now. What did you see?
I was just gonna talk about when I saw The Amazing Spider-Man, and the first time that I was like, why is Peter making his webs? That's so stupid. And then I realized that Peter has always had like little wrist things, little cufflets. And now I've seen the Marvel's like Insomniac's Spider-Man PS4 game. He also has the cufflets, obviously, and the MCU, and The Amazing Spider-Man, and it just makes way more sense for him to have like. It's also cool that he has like web fluid.
It just betrays the fact that he's smart.
It's just cool.
It's just cool.
It's just cool.
But okay, going back to the topic at hand.
Yeah.
I think one of the elements of the show, actually, I take back, of the shows, WandaVision included, one of the elements I'm most impressed about is their attention to detail and their ability to continue this story and display the like consequences of the actions and events that took place like prior. So in this case, I'm talking about the blip. The fact that these people got erased, literally like dusted from existence, and then they came back. And now in WandaVision, we kind of saw the after effects of that briefly. But in this show, you really get to understand how the world is functioning. And that kind of leads into like the Flag Smashers as a villain as well, and what their agenda is. But I think it's really impressive to see the consequences of the things that happen, like being carried out throughout the rest of and dealt with in an impactful way. It's not just something that they just briefly just keep glossing over, like, oh yeah, that did happen, but no, it's like integrated into the stories now. It's something that we just have to accept, like, yes, this happened, and now we're dealing with like the world has changed because of that. And
it's like the well, yeah, the world has changed because of it, and not only that, there's like people's lives like outside of our like bubble of this universe that involves superheroes, which is literally like 2% of the entire like population of the entire galaxy is like superheroes.
mm-hmm.
um it's like there's those like little camps where like children are growing up and they're like playing soccer, and like people are
Right.
existing, and it's like revolutions
Because they can't, yeah,
are
because but
starting.
the thing is, and what's interesting is that you would expect those people to be the people that reappeared after the blip, but they aren't. Those people in those camps are the people who have been on Earth for those 5 years,
For the full five
and yet,
years
like, they got pushed to the side,
Mm-hmm.
and the people who reappeared are the ones who get priority in terms of like attention and supplies and getting the things that they need in order to recuperate to the situation. Rather, it's so interesting that the group that had to stay are the ones who are getting pushed out.
And they're treated like lesser than because of it,
Exactly.
because they were here.
And that's literally what the Flag Smashers are fighting for. It's that it's their agenda and what they desire is for the world to return to the way it was during those 5 years,
where there's no boundaries, no countries,
right?
no anything, just
It's just
existing.
people looking out for each other,
which is crazy, because that philosophy, in my opinion, is not a horrible philosophy. And I'm kind of like I think the concept of us being able to act harmoniously and in a way that we protect each other, and the cultures that we're brought up in is to protect each other, like humans protect other humans, and that if like lacking boundaries and lacking like creating communities where we like work together is like something that could be potentially really beneficial. And also the way that Native Americans lived, or indigenous people lived, and there's no reason that we live in such rigid societal such rigid societal pressures that we do now. And it's like it's interesting to see the comparison that the people who lived as indigenous people did are shoved into camps, and the new people who just suddenly appeared are treated better and prioritized with the resources.
That's so crazy to me, but I think what I've come to realize right at this moment, I've like appreciated there's one of my favorite sequences in Endgame is that the time you spent, they kill Thanos early on in the movie,
Yeah.
and you're like, what? And then it goes 5 years later, and you spend a lot of time in this new world, the way that this world exists now. And I think that was one of my favorite parts of the movie, because I appreciate it even more now, because you see the beauty of those moments, but like the darkness of it as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because the people who are left, you were talking about like the people who are left are come together in a way nope, I lost it.
Come
What
together
I'm
in a
trying
way
to say,
that's like support.
it's that exactly, because these are people who have lost everything,
Yeah.
and who now only have each other,
Yeah.
and they're reaching out to each other, and they're doing what they can to just be there for each other now, because there's nothing else for them to do. And I think it's like kind of like beautiful in a way, but it's also like it's dark. These people have lost everything, and they're the only, like, the people who are left are like they only have each other now.
And also like the concept, without understanding, like their families could have completely disappeared, and they don't even,
Right.
like they don't know that Thanos is in space and that he snapped his fingers or whatever,
Yeah.
and well, he was in Wakanda, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. See, I think that just like it gives more depth to Carly and the Flag Smashers now as well too, because you understand what they're fighting for.
Exactly.
I always like to give Marvel props for their like villain arcs, and I also take notice of their use of multiple villains, because you have the quote unquote main villain who's like Hayward or whatever, and then you have the actual, well, I guess it depends on what you're watching, but like not necessarily a villain, but just somebody who opposes our protagonist in some way, shape, or form. But they have like obviously conflicting emotions about a bunch of things, and they're not necessarily bad people, da 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 da, so on and so forth. And then you have John Walker. So.
And then you have John Walker.
And then you have John Walker, who I would pay money to spit on him. So.
See, and we haven't even, like, there hasn't been enough evidence, not evidence, but we can't necessarily characterize John Walker as a villain yet.
You look me in the eyes and tell me that man is not racist and homophobic, and he goes fishing on the weekends.
I definitely could see that. I could see him.
John Walker is in the same lane as Hayward, and you can't convince me otherwise.
Okay, so you are correct, Chris. Here's the thing, though. I think us as a group.
I'm not saying that he won't become like.
No. But I'm saying that we don't have any evidence to call him a villain. There's no reason to call him a villain. He actually hasn't done anything wrong. But the thing is that us collectively as a fandom or like a like an audience has deemed him villainous because he's disrespecting Steve on the deepest fucking level that he could ever disrespect Steve. And
it's when he pulled out a gun.
It's when he pulled out a gun and shot somebody in the freaking stomach. I was like, who does this man?
But you know what? I think it's so well done because, okay, he pulls out the gun. Yes, we got it. But you start to see his character, this mascot, start to fall apart in the third episode, in the very opening scene. I think it's so, okay, we get this commercial for the GRC, which is the GPC, what is it? The Global Repatriation
Council.
And it's like, oh, we need to come together. We need the people who have come back. We need to provide assistance to them. And then you cut to the scene where the police door opens and John Walker is shrouded in darkness inside the van, and he walks out with the shield, and they break into this place that Carly and the Flag Smashers were at, and he has this interaction with this man, and John Walker gets angry, and he pushes the man against the wall, and he yells at him, "Do you know who I am?" And I think you start to see this mascot character fall apart, and you're starting to see, the entitlement that this character has, just because he has
the
symbol.
Captain America symbol. And
I think especially when the guy spit on him, I think once again you are experiencing, like, that man embodied what we experience, what we are currently experiencing, our feelings towards this John Walker character,
Yeah. Which I think is really, 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 really interesting. And I think it's also, I'm, like, now noticing, not that this is, like, supposed to be, like, a conversation oriented around, like, the politics of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but a white man having the protection of the symbol of America, and, like, being entitled and expecting that means that people are going to treat him in a specific way, and then when they don't, he gets angry. It's, like, Do you know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
it's like bizarre how, not even bizarre, it's not bizarre. It's like the amount of conversations that we need to have. I think I'm just dumbfounded by it because I'm like, it's Marvel and it's Disney Plus who are having these conversations, who are sparking these conversations that have needed to be talked about for so long, and now we're like finally in this like beautifully written like a cinematic masterpiece. We are finally experiencing, like, we are finally having a moment where we can have these fucking conversations and they could just be normal conversations about like let's just discuss the topic at the fucking very least. You know what I mean? I think it's just like, but it's like, it's interesting because it's like you're genuinely like, I mean, back to John Walker as a character. I think that he is an incredibly well written character, and
Yeah.
to see him, because I think there's also a side of him that I sympathize with, and I think that's
Because he's a Captain America stan the same way your Spider-Man stan.
he's I don't even think it's because he's like a Captain America stan. I think it's because he's a human being and he has a dream and an ambition. And I know it sounds weird, but we all have like dreams and ambitions and goals, and it's I almost like feel bad because he doesn't understand why what he's doing is wrong. And I think like, or like why what he's doing is getting the hate and the backlash that it's getting, but at the same time he won't fucking listen. He wouldn't listen. Like, if Sam and Bucky took the time to talk to him about it, he wouldn't listen to them. So there's no point in having the conversation in the first place. And I think that that's an incredibly dynamic and, like, well-written character. And, like, it's been Agatha all along. Yeah. 10 out of 10 to the writing team.
I think every time this conversation has made me appreciate the show on an even deeper level.
We are hitting close to an hour. It might be time to wrap this up.
Oh, that we do have an hour of recording, but yes, this show is incredible, and I really, really, really hope that it. I have confidence that it will like, it will supersede anything. What the fuck does the word supersede mean? I'm gonna use it
big
here.
Seed.
It means it means like supersede, like Superman, but a seed.
Yeah.
It will supersede any Marvel project that we've seen.
By far, it ranks high.
It does.
Like, very high. Which is so crazy because you didn't expect that. I don't think anyone expected that from the show.
No, I don't think I expected explosions and like a buddy cop film. That's what I expected.
And that's what it was described as.
But what we got was
It
like
does say buddy cop in the description.
a political and a political social economic introspective on the American dream and how that affects the American people.
I wonder if, like, okay, because we all know that not even the majority, but there are bits and pieces of the Marvel fandom that is John Walker. But, like, so I, like, deeply wonder, like, how are they taking to this?
I don't think they see it.
But, like, really? Because then even, like, when Wanda was happening, people, like, the John Walker part of the fandom was like, I don't get it. Why is it in black and white? What's happening? This is dumb.
If you are the type of person that is like, oh my god, I stan Captain America because I love America, you don't know what the fuck is going on. And you don't know who Captain America is. And that's fine, because you're probably also the same group. You are part of the same group of people who saw the first 2 episodes of WandaVision and was like, why is it in black and white? I do not understand what black and white is doing here. And I don't want to associate with you in the first place. And that means that you don't want to have a conversation and that you don't even want to think about these things. And that's not fun. You know what I mean?
I do, funnily enough. I just brought that up.
Oh, you did say that. I don't actually.
Also, I just want to appreciate the show is quickly becoming. It's not afraid to get gritty. It's taking steps that Marvel hasn't taken before. It's like going places it hasn't gone before. I saw a woman get shot through the heart, and we just like breezed that. Like we just like moved on.
Wait, the shot of who throws it? Who throws Bucky? Bucky throws the pipe.
And he impales a woman
through the woman's shoulder. The woman's like, ugh, she dies, falls on the ground, and then we're like, cut, next scene, intro, like interior, fucking bedroom,
dance party,
daytime, like
dance party.
We're literally like moving on. Did you
know what I mean though? Like it's going to, it's like taking chances.
It absolutely is. It is I definitely think there's some committee in some part of Disney headquarters or Marvel headquarters or whatever that is sitting there and being like, let's fuck it. Let's do it. Let's be violent. Let's, Sharon from the Winter Soldier or whatever. Bring her ass back. She's gonna fight 23 people while she's on the phone relaying information. Cause why? Cause fuck it. She was in a pirate island for the past 3 years. Cause why? Cause fuck it. Okay. And then we're also gonna have Bucky throw a pole through someone's chest. And you know what you're gonna say? You're gonna say, "Wow, that was crazy. That was cool. That was great. Let's now have a discussion on the politics of America, shall we?" And that's what this show is. And I've never appreciated something with my entire body. I've never appreciated an entire creative team with my whole body, soul, spirit, and consciousness. Thank you.
The episode this week got, it has a violence disclaimer attached to it. And there's promo, the promo for this episode where John Walker's kneeling in a warehouse with blood on the shield.
No.
Not on the shield.
And there was a set video leaked way back when they were filming of him bashing someone's head in with the shield.
Okay, fucking
Jesus.
What if it's literally Sam? Or Lamar.
Hoskins.
Who's Lamar?
His Hoskin. His little friend.
Man?
Is his name not Lamar?
It is Lamar.
Okay.
Kendrick?
Kendrick Lamar? What the freaky was I gonna say? Something. Okay, well, overall, I'm really excited to see what the rest of this show is gonna bring us.
Mm-hmm.
It's incredible.
Mm-hmm.
It's incredibly well done, well written.
Oh, look, I found it. Hold on.
The set leak?
No, the picture from the promo for this episode.
Yeah, it literally seems like John Walker is gonna be a villain.
you see it?
Hold on. Kiana. Please.
No.
Oh my god.
Stop.
Oh, I was gonna ask. I could have sworn. Did. Oh, never mind. I just answered my own question. I was gonna be like, didn't Cap's shield get absolutely obliterated in Endgame by Thanos? Like, chunked away? And then I was like, oh yeah, but then he, like, travels back in time, and then the shield's, like, fine, and he, like, brings the shield back, and it's, like, fine. Hey, Chris.
Hey.
Okay, it's been an hour. We have to...
Okay, we
Yeah,
should
this is
definitely probably go to sleep, too. Because I have to shoot a lot of stuff. Are you coming on Saturday, Chris?
I think so.
Okay.
Okay. Rated so far out of 10.
I don't even know.
I was definitely supposed to work out.
Just work out right now.
Mm-hmm.
I give it an 8.
I give it
Alright.
100%.
Okay.
I'll give it an A-.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna start sending you guys pictures of men who give me John Walker vibes.
Okay, that's the end
You
of this.
king.
Matthew, no, we can't say that. Okay, I'll just cut it out. Okay, bye.
You have to
What'd you
edit.
say?
I said Matthew King.